The ability to travel between electronic documents using any number of alternative paths to find relevant information is known as the searching. Ranganathan's canon of classification as grouped into three plans of work are idea, verbal and notational. Who devised EDC? Melville Dew. Which punctuation mark is used before the place of punctuation? Before the place of publication in AACR 2. Full stop, space and dash. Which placing the book on stack, some space is kept free at the right. Reference question of fact finding nature is called as the ready reference service. Identify the odd one out. Center entry. Vidwan is a national database of experts. What is meant by system analysis? Analysis of the components of the system. What is the basis for the formation of Cutter's book number? That is name of the author. The concept of common isolate was first introduced by Melville Dew. The acronym for Association for Information Management is ASLIB. Indexing and abstracting service came under which service? Current awareness service. Information may be categorized into the following three parts, that is statistical, descriptive and analytical. What is the full form of UDC? Universal Decimal Classification. Who suggested that the amount of information in a message is dependent on the size of the word contained in the message? Shannon Weaver. Who is the propounder of the term information transfer? BLISc. What is the intellectual property rights? All reading materials. Form of extension service is the all of the above, that is library websites, book fair and exhibition, library orientation. Resource sharing is not possible in area of library users. Kolkata Public Library was established in which year? 1836. IASLIC is an association of which type of library? That is special libraries. In which two categories? Non-documentary sources are grouped, formal and informal. The sources which are used to obtain the answer of the queries of the user in library are called as the reference sources. Lexicography is the art or science of preparing which reference source? That is dictionary. What is the suitable reference to find out the list of historical monuments of Rajasthan? That is guidebook. What is the main source of obtaining access to current literature of a subject or a field? Both indexing and abstracting periodical. What do you know about the span of control? That is the number of activities that a manager can effectively manage. What is the third one in the trinity of a library along with users and documents? That is staff. Minimum amount per head of population is allocated in the method of details. Hybrid library deals with the both, that is print collection and the digital collection. According to General Financial Rules 2017, loss of how many volumes per 1000 volumes issued consulted in a year it will be taken as a reasonable, that is 5. Which of the following is an institutional repository software package? ePrint. GSDL was developed at the University of Waikato, New Zealand. The 12 rules for relational database were given by the Edgar F. Code. Who propound conservative, moderate and liberal theories of reference service? James I. Weir. Informal communication among knowledgeable person is known as the invisible college. This term was coined by Dr. S.R. Ranganathan for mobile library, library on wheels. The secondary source of information comprise indexing and abstracting periodicals. Mobile library, a kind of service, extension service. Who said the demand and supply theory of books? McColvin. User education may be provided in four related areas, which are users awareness, user studies, library orientation, bibliographic instruction. The concept of AI belongs to the fifth generation computer. What is bug? Error in a program. In which of the following the term truncation is used? Search formulation. In library context, CCF stands for the Common Communication Format. Web of Science is a citation index tool. Who said to provide the right book to the right reader in right time? During. Posting the right person at the right place is called as the recruitment. Which national agency in India is responsible for assigning the ISBN? Raja Ram Mohan Roy National Agency. Three-card system of periodical management was introduced by whom? S.R. Ranganathan. A periodical evaluation of an employee is done through the performance appraisal. In which year the Public Library Act passed in Arunachal Pradesh? 2009. Reading of unuseful books from the library is emphasized by this law of library science. Fifth law. The five elements of marketing mix are product, place, price, promotion, and staff. ISO 26320 2012 is the standard for the DOI. Working papers fall under the category of grey literature. In which year did RRRLF and ILA submit a report to the Government of India to formulate a national library policy? 1984. Who started the first school in librarianship in the world? Melville Dew. National Register of Translators is maintained by National Translation Mission. The symbol plus in UDC indicates coordination relationship. Which of the following publications sees in print form in 2012? New Encyclopedia Britannica. As per CC, Common Auxiliary M refers to the periodical. Under Delivery of Books and Newspaper Act 1954, Delhi Public Library was declared a depository library of India in which year? 1981. Which commission recommended 6.25% of the total budget of a university for its library? Radhakrishnan Commission. Library Development Plan 30-year program for India was prepared by the S.R. Ranganathan, who has stated the library is the heart of the university. C.D. Deshmukh. The Constitution of India provides for the establishment of a national library under Article 62 of the Schedule 7 of the Union List and declares it an institution of national importance. Who said public library are the responsibility of local and national authorities. It must be supported by specific legislation and financed by national and local government. UNESCO Manifesto. Standard for library in India are prepared and maintained by which organization? BIS. Model Library Act prepared by S.R. Ranganathan was presented in the All Asia Educational Conference in the year 1930. Who has written the introduction of 5 laws of library science? W.C. Berwick Sayers. Which law of library science advocates the universalization and democratization of library service? Second law. Which law of the library science is enumerated by Dr. S.R. Ranganathan cover the words children, blind and the crippled, artisans, neoliterates, farmers, factory workers and many more under the ambience of public library service? That is second law. What is the most effective way of satisfying the third law? That is every book its reader, that is open access system. By which law investment in unused books is a dead investment and a waste. Every book its reader. Who identify 8 central values of librarianship? Michael Warman. COMLA, that is Commonwealth Library Association, was formed in 1972 at the Nigeria. Which association's tagline is managing information? As LIP. Which of the following is not an objective of Raja Ram Mohan Rai Library Foundation, that is to maintain directive of academic libraries. Which organization started international advocacy program to promote a policy framework for valued library service? IPLA. Paul Otlet and Henrietta Fontaine were instrumental for establishment of which professional association, that is FIT. Universal Bibliography Control and International Mark is a core activity of IPLA. UNICIST is a World Science Information Program. Granthana is an official publication of Raja Ram Mohan Rai Library Foundation, Calcutta. Sorry. Which university awarded the first PhD degree in library science in India? University of Delhi. Book number helps in individualizing the book within the same class number. Every year, World Intellectual Property Day is celebrated on April 26. The term data came from which language? Latin. In which year Goa enacted Public Library Act? 1994. Census of India is a numerical type of database. Full form of ADONIS is Article Delivery over Network Information System. Which of the following is not a network protocol? That is Z39.50. Live journal can be used for the creation of block. The smallest unit of a database is byte. National Library Week in India is being celebrated annually since 1968. Bibliography is the best example for the tertiary sources. Next, stand for the National Assessment and Accreditation Council. Self-list means stock verification. The Office of Patent Information System is India is at the Nagpur. What is thesaurus? A form of the dictionary. Shodhganga is a national level repository for the e-thesis. Which of the following is the first step starting the research process? Identification of the problem. Who is considered the pioneer in India for the development of public libraries? Maharaja Sayajirao Gaikwad. Which of the following option is not a plagiarism detection software? Paper Pile. Who developed a three-step model for change that include unfreezing, movement and refreezing? Kurt Lewin. Principle of literary warrant deals with the inclusion of subject in a classification scheme. The CPU of the computer consists of ALU, CU and the memory. On which team the most money of the budget of the library is spent? Start. Resource description and access was first released in which year? 2010. Who is the chief editor of the 23rd edition of the DDC? John S. Mitchell. ISKO stand for the International Society for Knowledge and Organization. In UDC, this symbol is used to represent the language auxiliary number, that is equal. The Sears list of subject heading is published by the H.W. Wilson. An increase in the specificity in indexing language means increase in precision. Which of the following is not published by NISCARE, that is Reference Librarian? The concept of systematic indexing was introduced by J. Kaiser. Clausaurus is developed by G. Bhattacharya. Indian Citation Index is developed by the Knowledge Foundation. The JSTOR is operated from the USA. The concept of microphotography was introduced by John Benjamin Dancer. MOOC stands for the Massive Open Online Course. What is Urkun? Anti-plagiarism software. ESO Sindhu is a consortium. What are the main components of RFID? RFID tag, reader or sensors, antenna and server. Which among the following is not an institutional repository software, that is LibSys? Joomla is a software for the content management. National Informatics Center was established in the year 1976. The invisible web refers to that part of the internet which is hidden from the search engine. Which one is not included in Henry Mintzberg's mechanism of coordination, that is leadership? PERT stands for the Program Evaluation and Review Technique. Contingency theory of leadership was developed by the Fred Edward Filter. Which of the following includes in cost of quality? That is all of the above. Cost of appraisal, cost of failure, and the cost of prevention. Who was awarded the first Padma Shri in library science in India? S.R. Ranganathan. Which organization offer the Tagore National Fellowship for Cultural Research in India? RRRLF. According to AACR2, a sound disc by HMV entitled Tal, composed by Bipin Lahiri and sung by Sujit Sen, will be rendered at the Lahiri Bipin. In which year the West Bengal Public Library Act was enacted? 1979. In which year Delivery of Books and Newspaper Act was passed? 1954. In which year UGC Imponent Digital Library Concession was started? 2003. Questionnaire is a tool of research. Research design means as a blueprint of the research activity. Which one of the following is not a random sampling technique? That is cluster. T-test is applied for the two sample. Syngology is the study of China. DJLIT is published by DC Talk. In which year the National Social Science Documentation Center was established? 1970. Prolegomena to Library Classification, a classic book written by the S.R. Ranganathan. Patent and trademark as an example of the intellectual property right. Facts on file can be grounded under secondary sources. Google Earth is a virtual globe. Unimark was developed by IPLA. In spiral of scientific method, the first quadrant is called empirical laws, a method of data collection for studying events that have taken place in the past on the basis of literature is called as the review of literature. In CC, System Z is the basic class of the law. In 7 phases of information literacy, which phase discuss information literacy experience and using information process? Third phase. In 6 frames for information literacy education, which frame deals with the users focus on what people should know about information literacy? Content frame. In which year 7 phases of information literacy were developed? 2004. MAPA is abstracting service. FERBER stands for the functional requirements for bibliographic records. Tagging in Web 2.0 application is called taxonomy. Ontology is a classification of internet-based documents. Z39.50 is a standard for the search and retrieval. DOAJ was hosted by the Lund University. Which one of the following page is not correct? Vickery cataloging. The first edition of DDC consists of the 44 pages. A computer program that translates one program instruction at a time into machine language is called as the compiler. Medlar's online version is Medline. Groupware is a collaborative software. RAM is also called as the volatile memory. Indicate is an online union catalog of Indian University. Maclean is organized by Telnet. Linux is an example of the system software. Open system interconnection is related to communication protocols. Sociology for engineer is an example of which type of phase relation in CC? Bias. Prussian instructions are related to the rules of cataloging. Library of Congress classification scheme is an example of the purely enumerative classification. In which year 7th edition of CC was published? 1987. What is the purpose of notation plan? To give some symbol for the identifier. In which year IPLA was founded? 1927. Webometrics refer to the web page content and web link structure. Growth and development of LIS profession in India is example of the historical method. In which year the UNESCO Public Library Manifesto 1949 was revised? 1994. SILIP stand for the Chartered Institute of Library and Information Professional. SSRN stand for the Social Science Research Network. What is Mozilla? A web browser. CCF is developed by the UNESCO. ERIC is sponsored by Department of Education, Government of USA. ISBN consists of the 13 digits. Which is not the component of expert system? Search engine. RRRLF is a government body to support public library. NMML stand for the Nehru Memorial Museum and Library. Which is academic social networking site? ResearchGate. The size of the standard catalog card is 12.5 centimeter into 7.5 centimeter. A classified catalog is one in which some entries has number entry and word entries. In which year did the Vatican Library compile a catalog code entitled Rules for the Catalog of Printed Books? 1927. In which year the first edition of Ranganathan's classified catalog code appeared? 1934. In which year the Raja Ram Mohan Rai Library Foundation was established? 1972. Agris stand for the International Information System for Agriculture, Science and Technology. In which year the Press and Registration of Books Act passed? 1867. Consortium for E-Resource in Agriculture, SERA, is maintained by ICAR.